these are books that I haven't bought yet, but I've been thinking about it. So let's see which books are on my radar. Here we have the list. I'm going to go through the 5 most recent ones that I have added to my want to read list on Goodreads. Now, one of them I do have in my possession. My friend got it for me for my birthday, but we will get to that when we get to that. The first book we're going to talk about is, or that I struggle saying, Embroideries by Marjane Satrapi, who sadly passed away. She wrote my favorite graphic novel, but this has a great rating of a 3.95. 32,416 people have left their rating, and it was originally published in 2006. I added this on August 10th, so that was today that I'm filming this. The 3 or 4 on here are ones because Goodreads is currently doing a giveaway for them, and if you enter a giveaway, it automatically pushes that book to the top of your want to read list. Books have been on here longer, but since I have entered giveaways in the last 10 days, they are closer to the top. Let's see what Embroideries is about. From the best-selling author of Persepolis comes a gloriously entertaining and enlightening look into the sex lives of Iranian women. Embroideries gathers together Marjane's tough-talking grandmother, I love her grandmother, stoic mother, glamorous and eccentric aunt, and their friends and neighbors for an afternoon of tea drinking and talking. Naturally, the subject turns to love, sex, and the vagaries of men. As the afternoon progresses, these vibrant women share their secrets, their regrets, and their often outrageous stories about, among other things, how to fake one's virginity, how to escape an arranged marriage, how to enjoy the miracles of plastic surgery, how to delight in being a mistress. By turns revealing and hilarious, these are stories about the lengths to which women will go to find a man, to keep a man, or most important, keep up appearances. Full of surprises, this introduction to the private lives of some fascinating women whose life stories and lovers will strike us at once deeply familiar, profoundly different from our own, is sure to bring smiles of recognition to the faces of women everywhere, and to teach us all a thing or two. And I think this one is really awesome because it is taking place in Iran, and a lot of people have this one vision of Iran, especially right now with what's happening in the world. But a lot of times people, I know in the West, I'm assuming in other places as well, like to generalize. They see Iran just as this fundamentalist country, not realizing there are real people just like them there. And this is showing what it's like to be a woman there and what it's like to be a woman in general. And I think that's fantastic. I love how Marjane explains Iran to Western audiences. The genres this is tagged as are graphic novels, comics, nonfiction, memoir, Iran, feminism, graphic novel, comics, Middle East, and biography. The next book is Spoilt Creatures by Amy Twigg. This one actually isn't out yet. It comes out next month in September on the 8th. It has a good rating of a 3.73, with 2,927 people leave that rating, and there's 471 reviews. So this one is not out yet. So I think for a book that's not even published yet, that seems pretty good. Let's read the description. They thought they knew everything about us, the kind of women we were. It was a place for women, a remote farm tucked away in the Kent Downs. A safe space. When Iris, newly single and living at home with her mother, meets the mysterious and beguiling Hazel, who lives in a women's commune, she finds herself drawn into the possibility of a new start, away from the world of men who have only let her down. Here at Breach House, the women can be loud and dirty, live and eat abundantly, all while under the leadership of their gargantuan matriarch Blythe. But even among the women, there are power struggles, cruelty, and transgressions that threaten their precarious ways of life. When a group of men arrive on the farm, the commune's existence is thrown into question, hurtling Iris and other women towards an act of devastating violence. Fierce and unapologetic, Spoilt Creatures is an intoxicating debut about transgression, sisterhood, and the seductive nature of obsession. It pulls back the skin of patriarchal violence and examines the female rage that lurks beneath. We're kind of having a theme here, but I do love communes in books, those settings of just like a house as well. I really like, and I love themes of sisterhood. And this year, starting with I Who Have Never Known Men, I've really been on a kick about taking down the patriarchy. The genres this is listed as is fiction, contemporary, queer, lesbian, LGBT, so we do have all that representation. Literary fiction, summer, feminism, horror, and cult. So it seems like it's a summer read, even though it's being published in fall. and it seems genre bending. Seems like a good time to me. Next we have a departure, at least I think it's going to be a departure, and that is The Alchemist of Loom. This is book 1 in the Loom saga. This is by Elise Kova with a great rating of a 3.93. 8,283 people have left those ratings, and 1,280 people have written a review for this book. Her vengeance, his vision. Ari lost everything she once loved when the 5 guilds resistance fell to the Dragon King. Now she uses her unparalleled gift for clockwork machinery and tandem and notoriously unscrupulous morals to contribute to a thriving underground organ market. There isn't a place on Loom that is secure from the engineer turned thief, and her magical talents are sold to the highest bidder as long as the job defies their Dragano pressures. Sivre would do anything to see his sister usurp the Dragon King and sit on the throne. His family's house has endured the shame of being the lowest rung in the Dragon Society for far too long. The Alchemist Guild down on Loom may just hold the key to putting his kin in power. If Sivra, you know how fantasies are, can get to them before the Dragon King's assassins. When Ari stumbles upon a wounded Sivra, she sees an opportunity to slaughter an enemy and make a profit off his corpse. But the dragon sees an opportunity to navigate Loom with the best person to get him where he wants to go. He offers her the one thing Ari can't refuse, a wish of her greatest desire, if she brings him to the Alchemists of Loom. I have been in a fantasy mood lately. Now this seems kind of scary to me. This seems like really high fantasy and steampunk. So this was the book on this list that is definitely the one out of my comfort zone, but I have been really drawn to fantasy because I loved this season of House of the Dragon. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I had so much fun with it. The first episode I kind of struggled with, so I would give it like a 4.5, 4.75, whatever you want to do, because I did struggle with that episode, but all of them after that, I loved. I loved. The battle scene last night, so good. So I have been really in a fantasy mood. But let's see the genres. Fantasy, steampunk, see that's the one that's kind of out there for me. Young adult, also kind of out there for me. Dragons, magic, romance, audiobook, new adult, fiction, and science fiction. So new adult is kind of promising. I have definitely this year realized that new adult should be one of those subcategories because I've come across books where I'm like, yeah, I think Divergent would be a new adult book. Let me know. Do you agree with that? Now we have on Chesil Beach by Ian McEwan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I do have an Ian McEwan book behind me. I haven't read any of his books, but they all sound right at my alley. This has a good rating of a 3.63 with 105, 3,000 or 313 reviews. So that might be our most popular one yet. With 9,000, oh, that was ratings, with 9,855 reviews. Let's see what it's about. They have to tell us all his accomplishments. National bestseller, the Booker Prize winner, and best-selling author of Atonement, brilliantly illuminates the collision of sexual longing, deep-seated fears, and romantic fantasy on a young couple's wedding night. No one now writing in English surpasses or even matches McEwan's accomplishment. The Washington Post Book World. It is 1962 and Florence and Edward are celebrating their wedding in a hotel on the Dorset coast. Yet as they dine, the expectation of their marital duties becomes overwhelming. Unbeknownst to them, both, the decisions they make this night will resonate throughout their lives. With exquisite prose, Ian McEwan creates in On Chesil Beach a story of lives transformed by a gesture not made or a word not spoken. Oh yes, I'm somebody who I am trying to be more outspoken, so I can definitely relate. The genres are fiction, historical fiction, literary fiction, contemporary romance, British literature, book club, novels, and historical. This also seems to be genre bending. Maybe we'll read it in my book club next year, but I do not own this book yet. But let's talk about the book that I do own that my friend Marquise bought for me for my birthday, and that is Christmas Past, The Fascinating Stories Behind Our Favorite Holidays Traditions by Brian Earl. This has a fantastic rating of a 4.05, but only 226 people have left their ratings when 58 people have written a review. Let's see what it's about. Behind every Christmas tradition is a story, usually a forgotten one. Each year, as we decorate a tree, build a gingerbread house, and get ready for a visit from St. Nicholas, we're continuing generations-old narratives while being largely unaware of their starting chapters. but knowing how these traditions began adds a new level of depth to our Christmas spirit, as well as an arsenal of anecdotes to share at Christmas parties. Christmas, the fascinating stories behind our favorite holidays traditions, reveals the surprising, quirky, mysterious, and sometimes horrifying stories behind the most wonderful time of the year. With 26 short chapters, it's a festive, digestible advent calendar of a book. Covering traditions ancient and modern, Christmas Past is filled with stories of happy accidents, cultural histories, criminal cappers, including tomb raiders and con artists, and hidden connections between Christmas and the broader social, economic, and technological influences. How did the invention of plate glass forever change the Christmas season? What common Christmas item helped introduce fine art to the masses? Why do Americans typically spike their eggnog with rum rather than the traditional brandy? And speaking of booze, does the phrase Merry Christmas mark you as a drunken reveler? Christmas Past answers all those questions and many more. These genres are Christmas, nonfiction, history, holiday, audiobook, religion, and American history, and this is one that I do know I am going to be reading in the near future. So which one out of these books do you guys think is worth adding to my bookshelf? If you made it through this whole video, leave a beach emoji in the comments below, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye! If you guys watch my videos, you are familiar with Sherman. He was at a county shelter, but sadly passed away from having heartworms. So this is me to encourage you to adopt from your local shelter, but also to make sure that you treat your pets or fosters, whatever, treat them for heartworms, because it is just so awful and it's so rampant in these rural communities. So if you know any way to help, do so. Call your local shelter and see if there's any way that you can help dogs like Sherman.